Welcome. On this channel, I do unscripted, unedited videos about Linux programming and stuff. I'm currently working on a mini MMO learning experiment and leaning heavily on Claude code to do it. Trying to learn a little bit about, some agentic coding, I guess. So I'm currently writing the very most core loop of the application, which is essentially just an epoll message queue threaded worker thing. And I have done this with Gemini. I originally was going to hand translate the Gemini code over into what I wanted for the application, but I've decided that instead I am just going to let Claude kind of rewrite or regenerate the code based on that original prompt, which I slightly modified. At the moment, you can see I'm picking up right where I left off in the previous video. The client is prematurely shutting down. It's not real clear to me what's going on. I haven't inspected the code yet. I'm going to try and prompt Claude through fixing it. But the behavior that we can see is that if I run the server and then run the client, it'll pass a message or two. So we got one reverse, two reverse, and a time, and then it exits out. And the intention, obviously, is that the client is long running and should stay connected. Now, so these are just the workers retrying. So what I see here is we get a new connection. We got a request for a reverse. That's the details of it. Reverse the string, sent it, blah, blah, blah. Failed to read the body. Expected 20, got -1. And that is almost certainly our problem. So what I'm going to do is so I'm still in the same session with Claude from the previous video. So what I'm going to do is just basically give Claude all the info, which is that the program is still not running correctly. I see I've seen this error. And the desired behavior is that the client should continue to run forever until interrupted. Is that one? I don't know. Run until interrupted. Run until interrupted. The server should do the same. There should be no bad messages sent. Can you troubleshoot the issue? We'll dig into, if we have to, we'll dig into the code a little bit and give it additional information, but I still generally expect it to solve its own problem here. I mean, almost certainly the real problem is that message reading error, but I wanted to make sure it understood that we expect this to be persistent. The issue is clear now. We set the client socket to non-blocking mode. We use edge-triggered epoll. We use message wait, which doesn't work well with non-blocking sockets. And the reality is that my knowledge of epoll and is limited to the point where I can pretty much drive Claude, but probably couldn't write it on my own. No change to make old string, new string exactly the same. Blah, blah, blah. It correctly fixed its own log message for log error. Ooh, are we getting there? We'll find out. It's busy healing, I guess. Okay, fix the non-blocking socket handling. The original code used message wait all with message blocking sockets with non-blocking sockets, which doesn't work properly. I replaced it with a loop that handles handles partial reads correctly. Okay. Change from edge triggered to level triggered epoll. Edge triggered mode epoll requires careful handling of all available data. Level triggered. Okay, so that is something that I did pick up on my research. I couldn't figure out a reason that, given what I was doing here, I wouldn't want to do level triggered. It just seemed easier. It's more forgiving and ensures that we get notified whenever the data is available. Or maybe a better way for me to say it is I don't understand the advantage to edge triggered, I guess, and probably should do some research on that. Added proper partial read handling, both header and body. Oh, now I understand what was going on. We were getting partial reads, and then there would, okay. Added small delays on eGain when we get eGain, no data available. We add a small delay before retrying to avoid busy waiting. The server should now handle messages correctly. I'm curious what this small delay is. We'll find it. Okay, so let's just run it. Oops. So let's run that. Looks like when I control C, I'm getting stuck also on that 2-second timeout before it will hang up. So I want to fix that. And then here I want to run the client. Okay, so it looks like we are correctly reading full messages now. So the client correctly hangs up immediately, but you'll notice I think that this is waiting for the 2 seconds on the queue timeout. Yeah. So let's update that. When I send sigint to the server, it takes a couple of seconds to shut down. I think I know what it is, but I again, this is one of those, don't over constrain it, just let it solve it. Prefer let's update it so that it so that the workers it might, the workers might actually have to be updated here to use the non-blocking pops, I would imagine. Let's update it so that the workers respond immediately to the shut down request. So the message queue does have both blocking and non-blocking pops and pushes, adds and pops. And my guess is right now the code is using the blocking version. and for waiting for 2 seconds, and then in a loop. So it's going to mess with the queue. Let me check how the workers currently wait. So the workers wait up to 2 seconds on a queue pop, on the waiting pop, before checking the shutdown flag. Let's update the worker pool to signal all connections, signal all condition variables when shutting down. Now I need to check if we need to include pthread in worker.street. It's already included. Now also improve the servers. Okay, I wanted to clean this up because it probably works, but it isn't what I wanted it to do. So let's start it. So it's listening. They're still timing out. And I think I was still hitting that 1 second wait in the main loop, maybe. So we're listening. Yeah. Okay, so let's update this. Broadcast to wake up workers. Let's just get radical here and say update the workers to use non-blocking pops so that they respond. I'm going to actually do this. Instead of the previous change, let's update the workers to use non-blocking what is the Q H so we want to use triad and tripop. Instead of the previous change, let's update the workers to use Q triad and Q tripop to read messages. So instead of the previous changes, let's update the workers to use Q tripop. The server should also monitor the main loop. The server main loop should also should not have any blocking calls. It should also shut down immediately when it sees the flag, the shutdown flag. Okay. So we're down to 18% until auto compact. And this is what I'm trying to do in more recent work, is to try and use much larger context. But I think that if I can get it to do this particular change and have it work, this is a good point where we clear it. It's kind of the logical conclusion. That all the previous work led up to. And then the next video, if not more, will be directly related to me learning what the hell code it wrote here and kind of pounding on it and asking it to test it in various ways, probably. One of the things that I found I really like with Claude is, like, I'll go through this loop where I'll write the code and then I'll be like, hey, step back, and once you get it working, is ask it to propose ways to test it, ask it to just look at the code and look for consistency problems, look at the code and, look for standards, friction with standards approaches. Okay, the workers use QTrack non-blocking. The main loop improvements: reduce epoll wait timeout to 100 milliseconds to 10 milliseconds. Added shutdown flag. Okay, so no blocking calls in the main. Okay. So it almost already for sure is already built, but actually let's. There we go. Make clean, make. Okay, so if I shut it down, we get an instant shutdown. I mean, I guess we get that 10 millisecond wait instead of a second, but that is perfect. We can probably even stretch that out to 100 milliseconds, just not a full second. And then let's actually run it. Let's update what we got down here too. So I want a clear, a make, I don't want to make clear. I want to make clean, make clear, and then bin client. Okay, looks like we got working code. I wonder if that 100 millisecond wait was also causing the rate at which message throughput was being affected there. So let's okay, I'm going to run 4 just for fun. So split down and bins client. Bin client. Okay. So we're repeatedly handling all the different message types. We're pretty good dose of debug output. Now I think the only thing left to do is to start to refactor the code probably and clean it up. So let's actually just stop all of these. I guess the clients all stop when I stop the server. I didn't need to do that. Okay, so 15% before auto compaction here. Let's take advantage of all this being in context and say, oh, this just might blow it up, but let's try it anyway. Refactor the new code now that it's working. Refactor the new code for consistency and standards, and for consistency, I'm going to start with for consistency. Refactor the new code for consistency now that it's working. I want to just kind of... So first it's going to have to go out and figure out what the new code is. It'll do... extracts message types to string conversions into shared functions. Oh, nice. It would have been one of the logical... Now let me update the server C to use these functions. Standardize error handling patterns. Extract magic numbers into constants. really do think that the tooling around the agent is really what makes such a huge difference versus you know, trying to generate those big prompts and use the code like I was doing with Gemini before when I didn't. It's not that I wasn't aware that Claude Code exists or Cursor or Windsurf, any of these things. It's that I hadn't tried them yet. And there is such a big difference between using an LLM through a interface, an agent that has no access to the machine to change things for you, and doing this. I mean, the tooling clearly that's included in Claude Code so that it knows how to read files and gain its own context and do the updates. It really is just a game changer versus not having those things. It takes. So I'm pretty convinced right now that Gemini is actually probably a better model, of course, than Claude. It certainly has a bigger context, but I tend to think it runs a lot faster and actually tends to give better. Claude's really good. This is Opus, is really good, but I still think that Gemini Pro has the edge here writing code. But what it doesn't have, even with Gemini CLI that just came out, it just doesn't have the tooling to make it flow as well. And so it's the combination of that tooling being, you know, it knowing when to read a file or to write a little sed, you know, a little bit of sed code or awk, or, I mean, I see it do all these things in the background at different times. And that really makes the difference. Okay, extracted common functions, we're down to 0%. Define constants. I don't. Oh, I get it. Maybe, okay, so what I was just thinking about was this worker sleep. So if they're in a non-blocking, it just doesn't run wide open. They do block. Maybe it really would be better down the road to have them blocking, because that way there's always something sitting there ready for I'll have to test that when I get to a point of benchmarking it. Where my brain just locked up there was, maybe I am better off with the workers reading off of the queue in a blocking fashion with a very low timeout. The low timeout will mean that I get a good response in the shutdown, but there's always somebody listening for a message. Right now, potentially, you can have times when there are no threads listening for messages. Okay. I am going to apply this code as is. We ran out of context anyway. We're going to have to compact and rebuild the context. I mean, we could compact, but I'm actually just going to clear and rebuild the context. So let's see if we can get a commit message for all of this. I don't want the prompt in there. Okay, so let's just yeah, I don't need that prompt for anything. It's it exists in so I'll compact, and then that'll still mean it's still holding on to most of this context and then I will do a git commit, and we'll pick up from there in the next videos. Maybe I'm going to regret compacting it, because now it's going to spend a bunch of time doing that. And I don't know if I can interrupt a compact. No, I can. Okay, so, oops. Let's try that again. Git commit. So I have a pretty specific git commit command that I've been using. Vim Claude command git. So my goal here was to get a very specific co-authorship commit. Also for it to show me the message before it actually applied it. Always. I am currently running in auto accept, but the way a lot of my, like, that prompt is very specific in saying, hey, get approval. Oh, it went and did the auto compact anyway, so I ended up waiting for it. I should have just let it run. I mean, it was at 0%, so it's not surprising. So Claude has a 250K token limit right now, and Gemini Pro has a 1 million token limit. I've never gotten the Gemini context to maybe, I don't really remember, 70% maybe. So clearly quite a bit of difference there. But like I said, I just generally still feel that the tooling built into Claude Code is just superior. That does mean that almost certainly Google will catch up if they care to with Gemini CLI. Okay, commit. Add an epoll-based server accepting connections on, implement worker pool, create binary protocol, support 3 message types, add client that sends random message with configurable delays, periodic macro warnings by using format string, handle non-blocking socket IO with partial read support, optimize shutdown responsiveness with non-blocking queue operations. This is probably the wrong choice. And again, it was me making that choice, not Claude. Claude did it in a blocking way to begin with, but we can fix it in the future. Set default log level to debug, pretty debug, refactor, and this is specifically what it's not supposed to do. So two. Let's do it this way. Update Claude commands git commit. What is it? Claude commands git commit md. Git commit. Oh, crap. I went and crap. I put the stupid path into I copied the path, so I lost the message it was using. I wanted to give it instructions that basically said exactly, do not put this in there. And I actually forget the words that it uses. Regenerate the commit message, but only use the single line Claude. I mean, I can get it to redo it correctly, but I wanted to. Hopefully, I'll see it again today or in the future here, and I want to capture that exact line. and tell the git commit prompt not to do it. It gets it right most of the time, but I'm pretty positive that putting a specific, hey, don't do this, will get it right the rest of the time. Okay. We are currently on a clean tree. I will be trying to explore the code that Claude wrote for us, improve it, and generate some tests, and figure out where we'll go from here in the next video.